Hey guys, it's me, your girl Melipona, here with the next installment of our Tears of Themis playthrough. Right now we're on Chapter 2, The Unbearable Love, and we just finished the first investigation with Vin. We're getting pretty close to the truth, but we still have a lot of ground to cover, so let's dive right in. First, Jen lied about the hotel reservations. Then there's the location of Estelle's body. It feels as if the truth hidden behind the curtains is about to be revealed. There wasn't any activity in the hallway, but someone could have used the connecting door to go between the rooms. This means that Janice could have gotten in and out of Estelle's room at any time without anyone noticing. Officer, when did Janice check in? At 7 p.m. yesterday. That means Janice was already in his room by the time Jen took the chocolates up. He had every opportunity to poison them. What you say is true. I also suspect that Janice and Miss Marino shared a special relationship. How are you sure? Is it because... Alright, start analysis. Janice and Estelle had a special relationship because... Connection found. Her phone. No one entered or left Estelle's room after she retired for the night, but someone took her phone at some point. The only person who could have was Janice, since he had access to the connecting door. Not only that, but Miss Marino was still wearing her dress when she was murdered. It is likely that she saw someone as soon as she entered her room. Otherwise, her first course of action would most likely have been to change her clothing. So Estelle and Janice definitely knew each other. In that case, it was no coincidence that the two occupied adjacent rooms and that Janice had the key to the connecting door. End analysis. Jen intentionally arranged for Janice and Estelle to stay in adjacent rooms? If that's true, then Jen's lies about the hotel accommodations make sense. She wanted to hide Janice's presence. Just what kind of relationship did Janice and Estelle have? Why wouldn't Janice dare use the main door when visiting her? We may as well profess a bold assumption. Janice and Estelle were secret lovers. Janice did not use the main door because he feared that the paparazzi would discover their secret, which would negatively impact his career. Right, some fans consider idols as good as dead if they get into any kind of romantic relationship. Janice wouldn't dare say he had a girlfriend. Miss Mendoza arranged their rooms so that the two could secretly meet. Her lies served to protect the secrets of her employer and a popular celebrity. Miss Mendoza never believed that her employer's lover could become her murderer. She and Miss Marino both believed that Marius acted out of vengeance. Your theory would explain all the suspicious parts of this case. While you and Vin are discussing the case, another officer knocks on the door to notify you that the manager on duty is ready for questioning. How long are the police going to investigate? We have been flooded with complaints from our guests since early this morning. I think the investigation will wrap up soon, as long as you cooperate. My annual bonus is in trouble. Oh well, ask away. When did Miss Mendoza reserve the rooms? At that time, was room 1817 already booked, and were the 17th floor deluxe room and its neighboring rooms also booked? Miss Marino and Miss Mendoza's rooms were reserved under Mode de Venus. However, room 1817 was reserved by Miss Mendoza under her own name. We were also surprised when the guest turned out to be Janice. As for Deluxe Suite 1718 and its neighbor 1717 on the 17th floor, they were vacant. There were no reservations for occupants. Do rooms on the 17th floor also have connecting doors? No, we renovated the hotel last year. Connecting doors were removed from all rooms on the 17th floor and below. The renovation for floors 18 to 30 will begin next month. We have confirmed our previous suspicions. The rooms were arranged well in advance by either Miss Mendoza or Miss Marino. The key to the rooms on the 18th floor is the connecting door. Vin's analysis is likely correct. You nod, but then you realize another critical issue. There's another problem. A bottle of Romanée Conti was on the room's bar tab, but I haven't seen it anywhere. Did the bar deliver it? Of course, it's an expensive wine. I had personally arranged for it to celebrate Miss Marino's success. Housekeeping placed it in the room during turndown yesterday. What time was that? Almost 7 p.m. 7 p.m.? The banquet had already commenced by then. Looks like room 1817 has already been cleaned. Did housekeeping find the bottle of Romane Conti in there? No, both Janice's checkout and room were unremarkable. How about Miss Mendoza's room? Was it there? Room 1713 and 1817 are common suites. It's not offered. We didn't find anything suspicious in Miss Mendoza's room. Where could that bottle of wine be? Why would it disappear like this? Is the connecting door between rooms 1817 and 1818 usually locked? How many keys are there in total? The hotel has quite a long history in Stellis. The connecting doors were installed according to safety regulations at the time. The doors no longer serve their purpose, so we usually keep them locked to protect the privacy of our guests. There are 2 keys. One was with security and the other one was given to Janice. For what reason did Janice ask for the key? When he was checking in, he asked if his room had a connecting door. He said that he didn't want paparazzi or fans pestering him through that door, so we gave him the front desk's key. We also gave him the keys to both rooms 1818 and 1816. What a lame excuse. If he really wanted to avoid paparazzi, he'd stay in a room without a connecting door. And if paparazzi really wanted to bother him, wouldn't they force their way in regardless? Evidence record updated. On-duty manager's testimony obtained. You organize the files in your hands. There are some uncertainties, but there is nothing else you want to ask the manager for now. The report on the glass shards is out. After comparing it against our database, the blood on the shards belongs to Janice. Evidence record updated, vase shards obtained. Janice really was in this room. While they were together, a vase was shattered and someone was injured. They likely had a fight. Miss Marino's autopsy report is also out. Her fingernails were broken. After comparing them with the marks on the connecting door, she likely broke them while knocking on it. How about the time of death? Do we have anything more precise? No, it's still somewhere between 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. The medical examiner also confirmed that Miss Marino died from eating poisoned liquor chocolate. Aside from the negligible amount of brandy inside the chocolates, Miss Marino did not ingest any other alcohol last night. Evidence record updated, Estelle's autopsy report obtained. We ran a new analysis on the liquor chocolates. The only thing found on the chocolates were Miss Marino's fingerprints and what seems to be silk tracks. Silk? That means the murderer was wearing silk gloves when they were injecting toxin into the chocolates. They may not be fingerprints, but traces of silk are a valuable clue. Officer, although there is currently insufficient evidence to implicate Janice as the murderer, he is, without a doubt, heavily involved in this case. I recommend that the police bring him into custody as soon as possible. He may hold valuable evidence on his person, which he will destroy should too much time elapse. We already notified Captain Morgan of the latest findings, and he proposed the same thing, but we previously took in Mr. Von Hagen without the proper procedures. We've already violated our policies, so if we do it again to bring in Janice... If we wait for everything to process, it might be too late. Can you expedite the process? I thought Captain Morgan would try to break away from these shackles that you call procedures. Dr. Richter, the police have to follow procedures. They're already in the media's crosshairs because of Marius. If they dragged in Janice, then everything about this case would get magnified. I do understand the predicament the police are in. I simply think that it is regrettable that we know where to go but are held back by the Great Wall of regulations. Another shady thing that he's saying, because he's all like, that would never happen at my clinic, and then in the same breath is like, well, the police should make exceptions for my superior knowledge. Like, they're trying to paint Vin as like a morally gray person, but he's not. He's morally dark. That much is absolutely clear to me. The path is before us, so close yet so far. Janice disappeared after checking out. We can check road surveillance or his travel information, but we would need approval. This isn't usually anything difficult, but Captain Morgan's taking a lot of heat right now. What do we do now? Oh, I know how we can find Janice. Vin and the officer watch as you take out your phone and call Kiki. She's a legal intern at the law firm and your subordinate. She started working just this year and is a devoted groupie. Gosh, why are you calling me this early on a Sunday? Early, Kiki, it's almost lunchtime. It's early for me. I was watching shows until the sun came up. If you say so. I'm calling you because of work. Can you do me a favor? Sure, what is it? Can you check Janice's schedule for today? Is he shooting or going to some event? Huh? When did you become a J fan? Give me a sec, I'll look it up. I have a lot of fan apps that let you look up idol schedules. Thanks, Kiki. Maybe Janice is shooting outside Stellus. My apps aren't showing anything for this week. But he checked into the Manning Palace Hotel just last night. You're talking about his private schedule, you know, the stuff they don't publicly show. Is there any way to check what he's doing or where he specifically is? Hey, what are you asking all this for? I can't let you butt into his private life. It's not like I want to, but he's involved with a homicide case I'm working on right now. Going through the police wouldn't be fast enough. Come on, I wouldn't ask you for something like this unless I had no choice. There's nothing you can do. A homicide? My God! Then I'll ask my friends and see if they know anything. Sorry for bothering you, Kiki. Once this gets out, my reputation's gonna go down the drain. Everyone's gonna hate me, and they might even think that I'm one of those crazy groupie stalkers. You better make it up to me. Okay, I'll do whatever you want, but you absolutely cannot reveal that this is about a case. Well, duh, don't worry, I'll get back to you. You hang up and raise your head to see the CSI officer staring at you in shock. Even Vin can't help but smile as he shakes his head. Desperate times call for desperate measures. I had to do something. I spend a lot of time with my students, but I only regarded groupies as a topic for psychological research. I did not think much of them, but now... Perhaps my previous stance was too haughty. I should not scorn any particular community. I also don't understand them. It's all on Kiki now. Speak of the devil. Kiki sent you a text. How speedy of her. Found it. He's at Stellus Airport for a 12:30 plane back to his hometown, already past security. Janice is at the airport? There's 1 hour before his plane takes off. He should be boarding soon. I'll have someone intercept him. The CSI officer's subordinate dashes out the door while making a call, most likely to Darius. It appears that we have many matters to inquire upon during Miss Mendoza's next questioning. Before that, we must organize the information we currently possess, and we need to find more evidence that connects Janice to this case, or else Miss Mendoza will not talk. Jen also had opportunity to commit the crime, but she lacks a clear motive. Unless... 2 women and 1 man, a fashion company and the entertainment industry. Your mind conjures an absurd yet seemingly possible explanation. Unless they're in a love triangle. Though it may be too cringy to even say out loud, you can't ignore any possibilities. Are you suggesting that Miss Mendoza poisoned Miss Marino out of jealousy and that Janice and Miss Marino had a quarrel and nothing more? We can't rule out this possibility. However, I believe that Miss Mendoza is not the murderer. Only Janice can be. You take out your tablet and start going through every piece of evidence collected so far. Marius's liquor chocolates were a last-minute purchase. No one could have foreseen it. I believe in my client's statement. If Marius didn't poison the chocolates before gifting them, then the injection of tetrodotoxin into the chocolates must have happened after they left his hands. This couldn't have happened at the banquet for obvious reasons. The best place to poison them would have been a guest room. Agreed, the rooms lack surveillance and are private environments free from outside interference. Miss Mendoza did not lie about bringing the chocolates to the room. From this, we can deduce that only 3 people had the opportunity to interact with the chocolates: Miss Mendoza, Miss Marino herself, and Janice, who had entered the room. Excluding the victim herself, the killer is either Jen or Janice. After the banquet ended, Jen returned to her room and didn't leave. If she was the one who did it, then it would have been while she was bringing the chocolates back to Estelle's room. Janice had the connecting door's key, so he could have done it any time from when Jen dropped off the chocolates to when Estelle returned to her room. Both of them had opportunity to commit the crime. First, if they were in a love triangle, there was a low possibility that Miss Mendoza murdered Miss Marino out of jealousy. The reason is that Miss Mendoza made the reservations. Should she have wanted to sabotage Miss Marino and Janice's date, she would only have had to book a farther room for Janice to cause a major inconvenience. Janice did not dare use the front door in fear of paparazzi. Therefore, Miss Mendoza's motive is untenable. You're right. Then only Janice could be the murderer. Do you remember the 2 things of note that we found on the chocolates? Of course. 1, not all of the chocolates were poisoned. 2, the murderer carried a syringe. The murderer likely had a murder plan arranged, but then changed it upon seeing Marius as present. After our investigation and questioning, both of these points of interest have been cleared up, yes? At the very least, we can deduce the murderer's original plan. I see. You mean... Find connections. Connection found. That missing bottle of Romanée Conti. The murderer might have carried the syringe on them to poison the wine. Puncturing cork with a syringe would only leave a tiny hole. Using a wine opener afterwards would leave no trace of the syringe's use. In this way, it's entirely possible to pass off a poisoned bottle of wine as an unopened one. Indeed, if the wine were consumed, then the bottle should have been left in this room. It is an expensive wine, but Miss Marino is a wealthy woman and would have no difficulty in affording it. I surmise that the murderer successfully poisoned the wine, otherwise there would not be a need to remove it from this room. There's also the washed wine glass. They probably washed it before use out of habit. After they finished their preparations, Miss Mendoza returned and left behind Marius's box of chocolates. This was the perfect opportunity to shift blame. Following this path of conjecture, Miss Mendoza is no longer suspicious. We can rule her out as a suspect. If she was the culprit, there was no need to poison the wine in the first place. She also didn't have the opportunity to poison the wine because... Connection found. Jen couldn't have poisoned the wine because she had no time to do so. The wine wasn't delivered until about 7 p.m. Jen was already at the banquet by then, so it would be impossible for her to poison it. There were only 10 minutes between when she refrigerated the chocolates and when she ran into the server on her way back to the banquet. Even if she were lucky enough to never wait for an elevator, she wouldn't have enough time to poison the wine and wash the glass. Besides, Janice had the key to the connecting door. If he heard noise coming from 1818, he'd probably go and investigate. If that happened, Jen would have likely been caught in the act. However, the reverse is a different story. Even if Miss Mendoza saw Janice with a bottle of wine, her suspicion would not be roused. she would assume that he was preparing for a date. There was an extremely slim chance that Miss Mendoza would catch Janice in the act of poisoning the wine with the syringe. As such, Janice had a relatively safe environment in which to commit the crime. End analysis. Now we have an explanation as to why only some chocolates were poisoned. The murderer had already injected an aliquot of tetrodotoxin into the wine. By the time he decided to frame Marius, there was insufficient toxin remaining. But why did he put all the toxin into the wine? That is a question you will have to ask Janice himself once the police retrieve him. In addition, there is another piece of evidence that proves Miss Mendoza's innocence. As he talks, Vin brings 2 stools over to a part of the room that will not compromise the scene. You must be exhausted. Take a seat and rest. Thank you. You sit down on the stool and start rubbing your sore calves. As to why it cannot be Miss Mendoza, reflect carefully upon the evidence we just discovered at the scene. Let me think. The fingerprints on the phone. Only Estelle's own fingerprints were found on her phone. Jin held onto Estelle's phone, so it would be normal for both of their fingerprints to be on it. If she was the one who took the phone, then she'd have no need to wipe it clean. That would actually be more suspicious. Precisely. However, such a move would be necessary if Janice were the one who had taken Miss Marino's phone. He could not risk leaving traces of his presence in Miss Marino's room, which would draw suspicion. This is something that Miss Mendoza is unable to explain, yet it proves her innocence. This is logical. Tetrodotoxin does not cause immediate death or loss of consciousness. Oh, Estelle's broken fingernails. She knocked so hard on the connecting door for help that her fingernails broke. Janice was next door but didn't do anything. Although I believe this is a cold-blooded and merciless inaction from Janice, he may claim that he was showering and thus unable to hear her. What happened between him and Estelle that would make him hate her so much? This is a premeditated murder, not a crime of passion. Sequestered resentment and fears must have accumulated over a long period of time. Both you and Vin fall silent. You can't imagine how Janice felt hearing Estelle's cries for help from the other side of the door. Was he shaken, terrified, perhaps regretful? You also wonder about Jin, who was responsible for their room arrangements. How will she feel after learning the truth? Jin. I just thought of something about her that I haven't been able to reason out. Oh, please do tell. Jin's words and behavior contradict each other, especially in regard to ill-fitting clothing and generous salary, find connections. Jin's a professional woman. Appropriate dress is a basic expectation. However, her current clothing is obviously of the wrong size. I initially thought that she packed old clothing because she was too busy with work to buy new clothes. If she were busy with work and lost weight, then she might not have realized that last year's clothes would be too large. Yet, she says she enjoys a generous salary and is not required to work much overtime. It is unlikely that she was lacking the mood or money to purchase new clothing. Okay, I know I haven't made a lot of comments on this case because I'm just kind of like letting it unfold, but why does so much of the quote-unquote facts of this case, the clues I guess, rely on women's clothes, when they choose to wear them, how they fit, like Estelle in her dress because she didn't want to take it off, Jen in clothes that are too big for her. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I feel like these are not as strong as the plot is making them seem. It's highly speculative, but also it's more than that to me. I think it's absurd that they are putting so much stock in how Jen and Estelle dress as a plot point. Do you agree or disagree? Let me know in the comments. It's obvious that she's lying. Estelle didn't treat her very well. That is one possible conclusion. We cannot exclude the possibility of recent financial hardship. We speculated about why Jen's wearing clothing that doesn't fit her. You believe that she's innocent, but I suspect that she helped Janice. I have always maintained that Miss Mendoza was never involved with the murder. Vin speaks in a gentle but firm tone. His golden eyes sweep across the scene as he spins a black fountain pen around his finger. An ambiguous smile sits on his face. Perhaps he's replaying that night in his mind, its events flickering frame by frame behind his eyes. In that instant, you get the feeling that Vin has seen through everything and grasped the truth. Dr. Richter, how are you this confident in your conclusion? Let us review her lies again. Her lies? Indeed, in reality, lies reveal more truth than they conceal. No matter how varied or complicated a lie is, there is usually a singular motive behind it. Miss Mendoza lied for the sake of protecting Janice, not herself. Vin's assessment has made you aware of a blind spot in your line of reasoning. Her excuses for the reservations, her denial about knowing Estelle's private matters. Jen's lies all served to conceal Janice's presence. If she really was Janice's accomplice, her actions wouldn't protect Janice at all. On the contrary, she would be implicating herself. If Miss Mendoza assisted with the murder and was wholly dedicated to protecting Janice, then why did she not turn herself in as the culprit? An admission of guilt would be far simpler than fabricating lies to conceal Janice and Miss Marino's relationship. That's true. I also believe that Miss Mendoza was not aware of Janice's murderous plot. During our interrogation, she did not seem to think that Janice could be the killer. Like Miss Marino, did she not also believe that Marius was the perpetrator? Vin's argument almost has you convinced, but... Dr. Richter, your line of reasoning has merit, but I can't accept its conclusion. She was the one who reserved the rooms, and she held on to the liquor chocolates the entire time. Janice also checked into the hotel before she brought the chocolates up. They could have easily met up and conspired together. Aside from that, our theories are all based on the assumption that Janice and Estelle were in a romantic relationship. That hypothetically poisoned bottle of wine also hasn't shown up yet. From the way I see things, both Janice and Jen are suspects. I understand your position. Lawyers stand by evidence. However, just as you place stock in physical evidence, I have confidence in my psychological assessments, pseudoscience as they are. Miss Mendoza has strong moral and ethical principles. She was thrust into a homicide case, yet she prioritized protecting her boss and Janice's reputations. She is not someone who would conduct premeditation or participate in a murder. I have nothing against Jen, but if I found evidence directly linking her to the crime, I wouldn't go easy on her because of her values. I have a duty to my client, and even more so to the truth. As it should be. Vin smiles. He does not seem to be bothered by your stubborn attitude. I mean, why would he be? People in different professions come with different biases, and the bias of hard evidence in law sometimes does conflict with the quote-unquote softer science of psychology. Artem, he chose an impressive partner. His eyes gleam with adoration, which makes you feel somewhat embarrassed. You speak too highly of me, Dr. Richter. I can't compare to Mr. Wing. No, the disparity between you and him is merely experience. In time, your accomplishments might eclipse his. I stand by my previous assessment. How about a friendly wager? I bet that Janice is the sole murderer. So Vin has resorted to betting, because he's trying to prove how confident he is. Overall, I like working with Vin. I think he does have a really interesting perspective, and I feel like he grasped the truth of this situation very quickly. And, you know, I probably wouldn't take him up on the bet because eventually I think I would agree with him. But it looks like we're on track for the second half of the investigation, which the investigation minigame, you know, is like my favorite part of the game, so I'm really looking forward to that. But I think I'll save that for the next episode because they can take a long time, and this video's already gone on quite a while. It's me, Melipona, here to brighten your day with another Tears of Themis video. I hope you guys enjoy these videos as well as my light to medium commentary. I so appreciate everybody who has liked, interacted with, commented, and followed me so far. Check out some of my other videos. I'm doing a Stardew Valley drought challenge. I invented the challenge and I'm doing a playthrough of it. So if you guys are Stardew Valley lovers like I am, you might like those videos. As you're here for the Tears of Themis content, I really hope you liked this video. Give it a like, comment, click that bell, all that wonderful noise that helps channels like mine grow. And as always, this is the end.